Bible Talk Wednesday.
Have watched Star Wars: The Clone Wars.
This is Bible Talk. With your host, Leader, the only one.
Your first loser.
I am closer to be better, to be the best, okay? So cut me some slack.
John Fumbly.
Boba Fett. Attack mode.
Yep, I see that.
Attack mode.
Yep,
Attack mode.
yep.
I'm in attack mode right now.
Adrian A.I. Indalos.
I'm a man. I fix things. Cook barbecue and fix things.
This is Bible Talk.
Well, everybody. Hello. How are you guys doing? Welcome, everybody, to Bible Talk. This is your host with the most, Leader to the only one. We are on season 2, episode number 11, title of the show today, Gamers Edition. And I am with the two guys, my G's. My dual and gaming edition, Mr. John Fumbly. How are you doing, John?
I'm great.
Good, man. Good. And the co-star of the show, the one and only, the musical artist, the photographer, the you'll never know what, very good tennis player, Mr. Adrian Indolos. What's up, AI? How are we doing, fam?
Hi.
Hi. Ooh. It's warming up that those tones right there, man. What are you singing for us today?
The Cowboys suck. And Mike
Yep.
McCarthy is trash.
Mm-hmm.
Dak Prescott can't throw a pass
Mm-hmm.
because we suck.
Mm.
The end.
Wait. Masterpiece. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Bible Talk.
Coming
you
from one of the
guys.
biggest Dallas fans in the world. We suck.
A-
so
and,
upset.
and so you guys need to know what we do here in this show. We always, talk about the Bible is what we do. This is what we're here for. We really like to get together and talk about the stuff that we love, which is the Bible. But we do break the ice pretty good at the beginning of the show. We like to talk about good things, and this particular thing, I guess, bad things. But you'll never know. But we'd like to start the show this way, so we're not going to start right away, you guys. Shall we? Give us some good news, John, because I know what's coming from AI. What you got, man?
Great news. My family might have sold the building that I live in.
Oh,
So
so you're gonna be homeless?
I mean, not homeless.
Yeah,
Home adjacent.
home
Because we're
adjacent.
gonna live in a box outside downstairs.
There you go. There you go.
No, it's good. They've been trying to sell it for like 5 years. So
Okay,
it's actually
good.
like a huge answer to prayer for our family.
Congrats, you guys. That's awesome. That's very cool. Hopefully, it closes out correct and everything goes out well. We should be praying for that. Travis, get on it. Boom, get it done. AI, what are your good news if you have any?
Speaking of good news,
Mhm.
Travis Price is in a relationship.
He
according to
is. He posted
Facebook.
today.
So
I was all about it. I
Travis,
was like,
you need to hop on and kind of tell us, spill the tea, bruh.
we need all the details. All the details. All of them. So I was excited to see it too, man.
I know. Good news. The only good news for me, because as you guys know, like the team that I love the most just absolutely sucks and breaks my heart like every year. But the
Mhm.
only good news is that I am 149 days away from my wedding. So
Yes.
we're under 150. Yeah.
So tell me about your video. You posted a video on your socials about you running and going through this challenge of yours. What is it about, and what is it that you're doing, and what is it that you're asking for? Maybe we've got some viewers that may want to spill the tea.
Sure.
Speaking of
Okay.
tea.
So I have just made a personal fitness challenge is to run a cumulative total of 365 miles this year, like from January 1st to December 31st. I
Mhm.
just want to run 365. And am I going to get there? I really want to. I really hope to.
Mhm.
But my biggest mental blockage challenge right now, because it's all mental. Like, of course, like my body hurts, my hamstrings are tight and all that stuff. But the biggest challenge for me is that I cannot find joy
Mm.
in running. I hate it.
Hmm.
Like I can literally play tennis, basketball, soccer for hours and feel good. I can go to the gym, I can hit the weights, and I just feel so accomplished. Like, yeah, like I hit my PRs or whatever.
Hmm.
But even just doing like a 30-minute like run jog, I come home and I'm like, I never want to do that ever
Yep.
again.
Mm.
But I'm gonna force myself to like. And it's funny because one of my tennis students, one of my tennis patrons, was like, like why don't you just do like 365 hours of movement? And I'm like, well, because I do that easily, right? Like
Yeah.
that's not a challenge. And
Yeah. Yeah.
so for
Yeah.
me, this is a challenge. This is something that I've never done before. And is it like because I want to run, a marathon? No, not really. I just want to say like I did this. Like look at 2022.
Good
I
challenge
ran a
too.
cumulative total of 365 miles.
Hmm.
So
No, I feel that, man. I feel that. One of the big things that I struggled with in my youth, me in my teenagers, and was to memorize Bible verses. I never liked it, and so we constantly pray about it, right? So thankfully, we're Christian. Like I know that's a very superficial thing, man, but even God can help in that. You know what I mean? And then next thing you know, I ended up memorizing pretty good. Know almost like half Romans by memory, which is pretty awesome.
That's
It's good.
pretty good.
It's good to have Bible verses on the spot. So whenever you're going through like one of those like situations where you're in a temptation or fighting something and this stuff is right there, that's sick, man. So that might help you,
so
man. I
your
don't
so
know.
your gospel utility belt is
That is
full of
correct. Full
Like
of
Batman.
strapped. So it's ready.
fully strapped. Yeah.
Yeah. I just need to daily lube the gun, clean it and all that stuff. You know what I mean? John, do
Yeah.
you own guns, dude? Don't
I
give me
do.
that. Okay,
I
good. So you
do.
understand what I mean.
I've never heard it referred to as lubing up your
Or
gun though.
oiling the
O-
gun, right?
Oiling. I
Oil the
just
gun.
just cleaning it
Cleaning.
So
should be
cleaning
enough.
it, cleaning
Yeah.
it.
Also, shout out to
Hold on, I
Kevin.
gotta
Kevin says
lube up my
hi.
Yo, what's up, Kevin? How are you doing, brother? Love you, man. Thank you for being here. Okay, for me, good news, I guess, is tomorrow the team is traveling to Houston for state championships. We're representing DFW, Dallas and Fort Worth, and I'm the captain for all the teams 3.0, 4.0,
Wow.
3.5, 4.5. So that's super cool.
That's
So
sick.
you guys keep me in prayers. Make sure everybody's healthy. Bad news is everybody has COVID in my house. Everybody had COVID. A
Oof.
couple people are now negative, but they're
Mhm.
still positive in the house, and so they feel good. They feel fine. But man, this one is not being merciful with anybody. Everybody's getting it. So I can't imagine even for like Mallory. Mallory's it's probably been challenging, Adrian, for her. Like people sick and staff members sick. I saw a lot of like schools closed down for that too. So
Yeah, I mean, she's just trying to focus on herself and just trying to keep herself healthy and stuff like that because yeah, like all the subs are, being used up. Like there's a shortage on substitute
yeah,
teachers. So she's just, trying to take it easy, not trying to push herself too much with too many things because, if she gets sick, then it's the kids, it's the students who really
mm-hmm,
suffer. So
mm-hmm. Okay, well that's it, you boys. Welcome, or girls and guys, gals, everybody that's here, boys, girls, whatever you are. Welcome everybody to the show. Now you met us a little bit. Feel free to come by the Discord later, and we can chat. We'll pray, and you get to know us a little bit better. But we're ready to get this show started, and let me explain what we do. What we do is we typically go through some Bible verses that we select or choose beforehand, and we read them, we talk about them, and that's what we do. We share with you guys. We love doing this, and we love hearing from you. Hearing from you is like super important to us, right, boys? We want to know your thoughts. We want to see your comments. What we don't do though, the one rule that we have is like we're careful not to debate you. This is not the time or the place. The Discord is the time, and that's the place. And so, but during the show, we won't do that. Just letting you know. But we love for you guys to participate. So keep that in mind. And we're gonna get started. So, John, but AI missed one of the Advent series episodes, so I'm not gonna use AI this time. John, can you give us a small recap of the last three episodes that we had? It was the Advent series. Do you remember? Mm-hmm.
So the first one, we talked about the likelihood of the prophecies being fulfilled.
Yes,
right?
Old Testament, right?
Yes, Old Testament. And if I'm not mistaken, you said just for the possibility of 10 of them happening, that was less likely. Those 10 happening were less likely than the Big Bang
Yeah,
happening, right?
by
Statistically,
a lot,
right?
by a
Right,
ton,
like
by a
mathematically. Yeah.
ton.
Let me look. I'm gonna cheat a little bit here.
Then the second one was when Jesus actually came, right, and then was born.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about John the Baptist preparing the way.
Right.
We talk about the meeting with the angel and Mary. That was pretty cool, and we actually talk about the birth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one was cool that he's here always, right? Which is super cool. We talk about how he, like, it doesn't matter that the flesh is not present. We talk a lot about the Holy Spirit. John, you had a really cool, and so did you, Adrian. Really cool stuff to say about that, and how, like, it's different for everybody. The kind of like the feeling, but the thing is, it's the same. He's a counselor. He's a redemption, right? He redemptor, I guess. I'm sorry, my English, but it's pretty cool to have the Holy Spirit within us. That was a really cool series, man. I liked it. So today, guys, we're gonna do just maybe. I was thinking about maybe even doing a little series about this, but I don't know. We'll see depending how it goes. But I want to talk a little bit about the gamer's life, man. Like a gamer's edition, which I think is pretty cool because there's a lot of stuff that surrounds us in gaming, and I'm kind of curious as to what you boys think. So let's share eSword, man, so we can get started. Okay, boys. Shout out to eSword. This is eSword, as you guys can tell here. eSword is the app that we utilize. It's a free app. These guys are amazing, man. They put so much work when they do for free. The reason why I like it, the reason why we use it, is because the app can compare Bible verses, right? Sorry, it can compare editions of the Bible, not Bible verses. The Bible verses can be compared different editions. Man, I'm all over the place today. And so for me, it's awesome because I get to choose an edition that is easier for me to read as a Mexican who English is a second language. For me, is a big deal. But then also we get access to the original language, we get access to the Strong's Dictionary and the King James Version, which means we can get to see the Greek and the Hebrew, which is pretty awesome because English lacks so much in its language. So it's pretty awesome. So anyway, shout out to them. This is the Gamers Edition, guys. So we're gonna talk a little bit about everything in gaming. And one of the reasons, and I guess I forgot to say this. Shout out to Cross to Crown. We talked about him last week. I've been watching him a ton. His Bible studies, his content on TikTok, and it just blows me away how the man is just. It's all gospel, man. Everything, all the time, like blah 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 blah. His life surrounds. I would say gospel is his life, right? And so then everything that he does consequentially, whatever that is gospel oriented. And so it's pretty cool because I don't know anybody else, and surely there's a lot more of y'all out there. So I'm sorry if you're one of them, and I'm just doing this, right? But to me, as a gamer and as a content creator, it's really cool to see someone who is doing gaming with a purpose. I don't game with a purpose, and so shame on me. And so this is, we're getting prepared for this show, and specifically for me, God was speaking a ton through these verses that we're going to read. And so it's good. I'm excited, but I'm curious as to what y'all will think, what chat will think. So we're gonna jump right on it. Okay, first verse that we're gonna read is in Psalms. John, are we ready to read or what?
Of course.
Let's do
Of course,
it,
I'm ready to
man.
read. Super
Psalms.
whitewashed.
Psalms 119. You're gonna read the whole thing because it's such a short passage.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, ready for that.
Just kidding, man. Just verse
You're gonna need
37.
a little bit more than an hour.
A little bit more than that. We're gonna need more. It's gonna be a long show, you boys and girls.
Which verses?
Just 37.
Just 37? Okay. Turn my eyes from looking at worthless things and give me life in your ways.
So let's talk a little bit about this first. There's a ton of messages through the Bible of things like, I don't know, God talking, like Jesus talking to the rich guy and going, "Hey man, leave everything, give it to the poor, follow me, right? Or die to your cross daily, right? And follow me. Or I don't know, the only way is through him, which is a very thin path, right? It's a very thin path. So I like to point out first, I think, that personally, it's not as easy to just focus on him. I don't know about you guys. I'm kind of curious. It's not easy in my daily life to focus on him because according to this verse, everything else is worthless. Literally everything else, which just sucks because Maddie, my dog, to me is not worthless. Pumpkin is not worthless. My house is not worthless. My job is not worthless. But I think God makes it so clear and so easy. It's like, man, it's all about me, dude. The moment that you realize that, it changes things. But to be honest, it's hard for me. How's it for you, boys? John, how's it for you, man? Do you struggle like me?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
I think it's impossible for someone not to, obviously. I mean, there's no human being out there that doesn't struggle with making God number one, right? I mean, it's all this it's priorities, right? So, I mean, this has always been something in my heart that I've had to work on, right? When I was younger, I had like a really serious gaming addiction. Like that's all I wanted to do constantly, right? Which even now, gaming is still probably like one of my favorite things to do. But when I was younger, it was worse because I was homeschooled and I like didn't have any friends outside the house, right? So like gaming became kind of my oasis.
Like
right?
an
It was like my
obsession?
not an
No?
obsession. It was more of just it was my safe place, right?
Ah.
So instead of allowing Christ to be that safe place for me,
Ooh.
I let video games be the safe place, right?
Mm.
Which I think is probably why video games are. I mean, this is going to sound sexist, but I mean, a lot of men play video games, right? And back then, especially, it was a really big deal. And Stephen Madonna, one of the people we actually had as a guest star, way like probably last year. Something he said to me when I was living, we were friends and hanging out like locally, like I was going to the same churches and whatnot. Was a lot of video games portray the knight in shining armor narrative, right? It puts us in the seat of Christ in that story, in that world, right? Where we're the savior, we're the one that's fixing things, we're the ones that are doing these things, right? Because that's what we want to do as men. We want to be Christ, we want to be the savior, we want to be the knight in shining armor, And so it's a little bit off from what we're talking about, but my brain just went there. So, but yeah, video games has always been something where I let it become my safe place, even now, right? Like if it's a hard day, I'm more likely to go home and play Apex or League, which is psycho, right? Like it's just going to make me angry or it's not going to fix anything. But, then to pick up my Bible and read and let God be there to, or meditate on Christ, let God kind of help me through what was going on.
And so how would you how are you dealing with it? Like what are you doing to be better? Is there anything that you're doing at all?
Yeah. So it's really slow and small, but it is going to seem like nothing really, honestly, if you ask about it. But if I don't have anything planned, like Mondays, for example, are my day off, me and my wife, we get up, we make coffee, and then I'll sit at my computer and I'll think and I'll be like, what game do I want to start playing? Right. Like that's just the thing that I want to do then in that moment. Right. And so I've kind of started letting myself realize that I have to think about God first. Right. And so I don't let myself, and this is hard, I don't always do it, but I don't let myself play video games unless I've read my Bible, or I don't start work until I've read my Bible or done focused on God and different things like that, So making sure that he's first has always been important. Other than that, honestly, like it's still a struggle, right? Like making sure that I'm going to God instead of video games for things is still a daily struggle, So
good answer. I like it. I appreciate the honesty, man. What's up, Guyver VK? What is God? Ooh.
I love his
Squid Games.
Yeah, Squid Games picture. So
super
good.
dope.
I love it.
Who wants to answer what is God to him? Does anybody is brave enough to answer the what is God question? Going once,
I
going
will do it if no one else will.
going to. I can do it
Go
too.
for it, John.
Let's do it, John.
Okay. All right. Well, it really depends on your view, in my opinion. For me, right? I mean, I'm not going to say for me. Across the board, no matter who you are, no matter what religion you follow, Jesus Christ, God, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, they are a being that is outside of our existence, outside of time, space, matter. We don't know, he's not human, right? So we don't know what he is, right? Other than the fact that he is everything, if that makes sense. Like God is, like one of the ways he describes himself is I am, right? Which is this ridiculously high, like it's super deep way of describing himself, right? And so he is someone that's outside of existence, and he created beings, right? So he created angels, he created us to fulfill different purposes. He created existence, matter, energy, everything that flows within it. And then he decided that he wanted to create a being that was similar to him, in the format that he is, right? So 3 parts. And so he created us in 3 parts, just like him, Father, Son, and Spirit. So we have souls, we have bodies, right? And then we have spirits, which exist in the spiritual realm, right? That being said, he created us and then gave us free will so that we could be similar to him in the sense that we can make our own decisions and whatnot. And what being would give us free will without allowing us to, like if he gave us free will without allowing us to choose not him, then it's not really free will. And so that's where we find ourselves today. One of us, the very first one of us, decided that we didn't want to do things God's way, which we find out now that it was a lot worse than doing it God's way. And then now he's given us a way out of that terrible situation. So sorry.
No, I love the answer. Love the answer, man. I'll tell you, for me, God is the one reason to die for. I think people look for reasons to live for. Like people try to find their purpose to live. He's my reason to die, and that is exciting. So, and I don't think many people can say that, right? So I think it's a little bit different answer, but John answers the legit one. Mine is just different.
I mean, because like if you ask, like, I mean, this, right? What Kevin is saying, obviously,
we are really capable of knowing who or what God is in our limited understanding as humans, which is why God has revealed himself to us through the Bible. I think everything hinges upon the Bible. That's a tie. Like that's the shoelaces on the shoe, right?
Yeah.
So good. Well, good. Hopefully we answered your question, guy. But please, if you have any more questions, by all means, keep going.
Good question.
A great question. I love the questions. If you believe in the Bible, God is a loving, unimaginably powerful, and good being who created us and everything. Big if you believe in the Bible. If you don't, it's very hard for you to understand. Okay, second verse, because we just talked about the nonsense that we focus on. John did a great job of opening up and being honest about gaming. I think we all have our nonsense list of nonsense that we push forward, and instead of God, and that is a humongous issue. That's a big problem. Now, I don't want to sound like a jerk or anything. God also made all these things for us to enjoy. This is his creation. Gaming, well, by all means, we should enjoy it, right? Going out and kayaking a lot and hiking, using his creation, friendship, that's part of his creation. We should definitely enjoy it. It should never take the place of God. That's where the problem is, and that's where we all fail. I'm guilty. John opened up. He said he's guilty. Surely, Adrian, I don't want to speak for you, but you've been guilty. We all have. Okay, moving on to the next verse that we're going to read. Philippians. We're going to go to the New Testament. Philippians. Chapter 3, verse 14.
Just verse 14?
Just verse 14.
Okay.
Today's simple verses, man.
I press on toward the goal for the prize of the upward call of God in Christ Jesus.
So interesting because this is Paul, right? Shout out to the G dude. Paul, I keep saying this, man. I really cannot wait to meet this dude. He's like my number one guy that I really want to meet when we get to heaven. Because remember, Paul was writing all these letters under the worst circumstances, right? And I'll take, okay, so I'm gonna interpret this verse my own way. This is not the correct way, but this is how God speaks to me, right? He's playing the video game of life, and he's chasing this massive 100 million point trophy that'll show up in your profile, right? Which is to him God's heavenly call in Jesus Christ. So this is my gamer's way of thinking, right? Because I can relate to that, and I think it's pretty cool how his game is this constant pursuit, right? Need for Speed, baby. Underground 2, best Need for
I
Speed.
know, bro.
Shout
I am
out.
so
Shout out.
excited.
Shout
I
out.
saw the
Down.
trailer. I looked at
Yes.
Lauren. She
Yeah.
didn't understand.
Yeah.
She didn't. And I felt just shame.
Yeah.
You know, just
Sorry.
pure shame.
Sorry, Lauren. You
Yeah, I
you need
did.
to be better. You need to
I
be
did.
better.
You do. You do. Oh, they can't hear you. Sorry. I love you, beautiful. You're perfect. Touch me, please.
Oh,
Contact. Thank you.
Someone's getting divorced.
My
today.
love language is touch. So when I do something wrong, I have
Yeah.
to touch her.
Yeah.
Because if I don't, I feel like she doesn't love me anymore. I'm just being honest, man.
That's good, man. That's good. Anyway, so I think this is very cool because he's going, Paul, the man, is going through a ton of stuff that is just really rough, really hard, and the guy sees this as a race, as a work, as job, whatever. Right? Everybody sees it different. I see it pretty cool, like a video game where this is the massive goal, and I don't mind playing this game. As long as I understand that the goal is that, right? That's the ultimate trophy. And if I'm gonna play for it, I'm going hard for it, man. I'm going Asian level mode. Shout out to the Asian TikToks gamers out there who are walking by and they step on a leaf and it's game over, right? Twist their ankle, broken ankle. So this is kind of like that because life is pretty tough, man. But in reality, the ending is pretty cool. Adrian, you've been quiet today. I got a question for you, man.
Yes.
In your walk, do you take it like Paul does here? Because he says, I keep pursuing, like, this is a constant thing, right? I keep pursuing the goal to win the prize. This is not, like on the weekends or Sunday for church, or like, no, this is Paul in jail saying, man, I'm out here every day trying and working my butt to make it here. Is this how it's supposed to be as Christians? Is this something that you've lived, something that don't? Like, what's the deal here?
I mean, it's something that we're supposed to do, but honestly, I am probably the worst at that. Because right now I'm just my focus, and this is wrong of me. Like, my focus is to win at life, like the life that God gave me, right? And it's very, like, I know in the bottom of my heart that it's only temporary, that all of these things, like the house, the PlayStation 5, everything that's all shallow, and it's temporary, and it's all it's I mean, it's all meant to give glory to God, but at the same time, like, I'll be honest, like, most days, most part of my day, like, I'm thinking, how can I maximize my ROI, like my return on investment, like how do I win at the game of crypto, or how do I level up essentially in life, whether that's the cars, how pay bills and stuff. So I'll be honest, like, I get so caught up in today's world, in the world right now, the world in front of me, that I do forget that it's not the goal. And so sometimes, and especially, like, which is why I'm always very blessed and excited to do Bible talk every Wednesday, because it really, that and like going to church on Sundays, I mean, I'm lucky enough that I get 2 days of the week where I get a kick in the teeth of humble pie to remind me, like, what it truly is good and what I should be striving for. Because all the other 5 days of the week, I'm like, yeah, like, gotta get this big paycheck kind of thing. Which is, it's not bad, but it's not the goal. It's not the end goal.
Mm-hmm. So one thing that surprises me about God every time is I'm gonna bring up what you just said, Adrian, about the fact that God uses this time to remind us. God is such a and we're gonna talk about this a little bit later. He's so strong in his ways, right? He's a judge, right? He cuts no slack, right? Sin is a sin no matter what, right? Whether it's a little lie or a big lie, it makes no difference to him. But also he's so gentle, man. It's so cool because it happens to me also with you guys, with my other Christian friends, with people that I talk to that are getting into conversations that are like this, right? Whether it's at dinner, at a Chili's or something. God always utilizes those times and those people to make me see things where I'm wrong. And instead of him disciplining me, which he could and put me down in a hole, he shows me his love and his mercy through other people like you guys. And so that always surprises me about my God, our God, right? I think some people tend to put him as like, oh my goodness, why evil happens? Where's evil in the world? Why people that are good bad things happen to him and all this stuff, man. And you blame God on this and the other, but in reality, he should just snap his finger. We should be wiped off this earth since we've missed so bad the mark, right? We've sinned so much. We don't deserve to be alive. And the fact that not only are we alive but doing well and be able to do this and like all this stuff, man, have a job and all that is through his mercy, his love, which is amazing. So I'm with you, Adrian. I think it's a good deal, and it's okay to not be okay, and we're not okay majority of the time anyways. And so it's good when he reminds us of that, which to me is almost like every day, which is great. Guyver, you're still here, man. What is God form?
It's a good thing.
What is God form? Man, you gotta watch Dragon Ball Z. It's a
gosh.
it's a Goku Son Goku form. And then he said, we made from the earth, right? So God is made from space, or okay. I love Guyver. Like, I'm gonna give you props because you're asking the right questions. In my opinion, people that are I think you have, I don't know if you're trying to debate or you're genuinely curious. Either or, being curious about God is always a really good thing. And to be honest, man, like God is such a complex yet simple thing that I think our brains have a really hard say we have an answer for all this, right? Imagine that we had like a pamphlet full of answers. I still believe it'll be very, very hard to really grasp and understand this type of questions because we have a very limited brain that thinks that logic is the proper way of things, right? If you would have asked somebody in the 1800s that we were going to step on the moon in the 2000s, no one would ever. They'll tell you that you're a witch. They'll burn you on a stake, right? And they'll make you look like a fool, right? And then science happens, and people with technology happen, and Elon Musk's happen, and we're on the moon, and then now we're right. It evolves like that, and so I'm giving you a very simple example of how our brains limit ourselves so much on simple things. Imagine trying to understand the creator of the universe and the definition of love and mercy and grace through him as a deity, as a divinity, whatever you want to call it, whatever he is. I think is really impossible. Now, I do believe one thing, and boys, you correct me if I'm wrong here. I do believe that if you search for these answers one-on-one with him and get deep in the word, some of these answers he will answer to you in your own way. And I think that's amazing because I think we could probably ask, and I'm kind of curious, maybe we'll do it briefly, John and Adrian, because you may have a very different view of, I could answer this question my way. And I guarantee you almost that our answers will be different. And I don't think they'll be wrong. It's just God gives us what we need in our own ways. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Should we answer real quick? Or try it? Give it a shot?
I can if you want me
Sure.
to.
Yeah. So he's got several questions. So yeah, I mean, don't answer all of
So
them. Pick
yeah,
what you
so
choose. We have what is God form?
Kevin
Oh,
Kevin's
sorry,
answer
sister.
was really good. So John chapter 1. So if you want to read the Bible, right? So we will never know God in his form, in the sense of like we will never know everything about him, right? It's impossible for like Leader was saying, it's impossible for us to ever truly comprehend God because he is so beyond us, right? But there are things we do know about him, right? So like Moses saw his back, right? The only person to ever like truly see God saw his back, right? God the Father's back, right? So we know that he has dimensions, right? So we know he has like a form, right? And then obviously there's Jesus, which is the body of God, right? So that's a physical form, right? And then there's God the Father, right, which must have a form, right? And then there's the Spirit, right, which exists within space, so it has a form as well, right? But anyway, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God at the beginning. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. In him was life, and that life was the light of all mankind. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. So, super. No, it's okay. You can ask us these questions. You should join our Discord and ask them in there too, because you can get a hold of us 24/7. But yeah, so that's what Kevin sent, right? Which is this, right? And I would suggest reading the Bible if you want to get to know God better, right? It's easier for us to get to know him as a person, right? Like I'm getting to know Leader as a person, regardless of what he looks like, right? Like we don't necessarily need to know what form God the Father takes for us to build a relationship with him and get to know him like I'm getting to know Leader and Adrian and you and Kevin and anyone else that might be interested in building a relationship with me. You know what I mean? And so God wanted to be able to build that relationship with us. So he sacrificed himself and his son, which are the same person, but not the same person, right? They're parts of the same person, so that we could have the Spirit of God so that we can build that relationship with him, right? So like I will never understand what God looks like until maybe I go to heaven and see him, right? So I can't ever answer that question while we're here on the same earth together, right? But God exists. He takes up space, right? Like there's things we know about him. So it's fun, But yeah.
In Bible terms, by the way, Guyver, first of all, this is exactly what we do this. So you never feel like this at all, ever. This is exactly what we're doing this.
That
Now,
being said, we don't have all the answers.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. We're human, right? We're limited, and we're not theologians. Even though I went to seminar school and everything, try it, understand. Like, bro, I want to go on this search forever. I'll never have all the answers. I'm not even gonna come close to probably having 10% of the answers that are in the Bible. Really, I mean that it's a trip. Anyway, what I was going to was I forgot. Come on, man.
Can I say something?
Yeah. Go for it.
Okay, so he asked if God was made out of earth.
Yeah.
So we were made out of earth, right? Jesus himself is made out of matter, right? Because he was born in existence, and Jesus is God, right? But God the Father, we have no idea what he's made out of because he exists outside of our existence, right? And we don't know what's outside of our existence, right? So unless you know what's outside of our existence, which I find unlikely, but yeah, we'll never know like what God the Father and the Spirit are made out of until we go into heaven and interact with him and whatnot. But Jesus is made out of matter and dirt and earth, if that makes sense.
There's John chapter 3. You can read John chapter 3 when Nicodemus is talking to Jesus, and Jesus throws the example of the wind, man. He tells him, "Hey, do you know where the wind comes from? Do you know where it's going?" Right? And you tell me, "Hey, man, you're breathing because in the air there's oxygen, there's all this." So you can explain it to me. And there's scientists that know exactly how this works. Bro, I have no idea. All I know is that I'm breathing and that I'm alive because of it. Where's it going? Where's it coming from? Where's it? but I live it and I believe it strongly. Here I am because of it, for sure. And so I know it's a very, very simple, might not help you, but it's biblical, isn't it? It's like an actual biblical example that Jesus utilized before. Is like, hey man, a lot of things from the spirit are like this, and you must understand that it's about faith. And we've talked about faith, by the way, and season one, heavy. Adrian killed it when we talk about faith, and like halfway through the season one. So I encourage you to go back if we have those. I don't know if we have those episodes up actually on YouTube, but very good episodes on faith and what it was, because it's like that, man. It's a lot about faith, but we also have said many times you should be asking those questions constantly, and you should be asking them in your search for God, not in your search to fight God, because God will fight you back and you're not going to like that. It's better to ask.
Really good way of saying that.
Yeah, it's good to ask in out of curiosity, in a way that you want to learn, instead of asking to fight. Jacob did ask fighting and he lost his legs. And so there's several examples in the Bible like that. And so intentions, I think, are huge.
Your heart.
Either way, you're still going to learn a lot, whether you want to fight or not.
That's
You're
true.
gonna learn a lot. You're not interrupted, bro. Again, this is literally what we do, man.
It's a live stream.
It's a live reason. This is exactly what we're doing, man. If it was like recorded, like podcast, right? That's a different story, right? Yeah. And mind you, if you guys are listening to us, we're talking constantly with shout out to Guyver VK and Twitch, really cool guy. And he's been asking these questions, so here we are answering these questions, which we'll always do. Okay, so moving on to the next verse, and please let us know if we didn't explain it our best, Guyver, and if you have any more, keep shooting, man. Don't stop, okay? Don't stop. Okay, next verse that we're gonna read, Matthew 7.
We read Philippians.
Did we read Philippians or no?
No,
we did not. Okay. Wow, chapter 3. Thank you, boys.
Verse 14.
No, we did. The price. We talked about the price. We did. What are you doing, Adrian?
Oh, okay. You're right. I'm sorry.
All right, just making sure.
Paul just wrote so much. I would,
Yeah, Paul is a man. Okay. Oof. Ooh. Yeah, this verse, man. Something else. Matthew chapter 7, verse 1.
Matthew what?
Matthew chapter 7 verse 1. Thanks, Kevin. You're the man. Appreciate it, brother.
Yeah. Judge not, that you be not judged.
Okay. There's several reasons why this verse is in the Bible. Okay. So let's be real to our Christian friends, that because there's a lot of them that say that gaming is a terrible thing to do. Okay. I ain't going to judge you.
I have never met anyone that has had that perspective in this day and age.
You know, man, listen, I think there's a bunch of people that are extremely conservative out there. They still are. And so I don't know, man. I think it's one of those things that if that's what we went through the steps, right? Chasing the price, putting God first, putting things worthless, it doesn't matter, right? That's one thing. Second, we also shouldn't ourselves utilize this platform to judge others, right? So I said it towards the Christians first, judging / joking, but it's there. But now I'm saying it to ourselves, because you know what? It's also pretty easy to jump into like an Apex game. Look at John; it's already taking notes.
I have to.
Easy. I love it. I love that you do,
Next
man.
week you're gonna say, John,
Dude.
I need a recap if you don't ask Adrian, and I'm gonna blank on it because that's the way my brain works. It's not there unless I need it. You know?
Yeah, I love that about you, man. By the way, I love that about you. Anyway, get like with games, man. I'm in an Apex game. Somebody joins in, swearing, mad, angry. The first thing that I go is like, wow, this is what a loser, dude. What does this guy do, man? Like, get out of my lobby, bro. Where my need is God's love, which I can show to him if I allow God to do so through my life. And so shame on us for using gaming as a very judgmental tool. I do. Super guilty. Hence why I said it. I want to be very, very clear. This was God knocking on the door to me and go, hey, man, especially like very toxic games like League of Legends. League of Legends is super toxic, right?
What?
It's
League is toxic?
Call of Duty is very toxic. The lobbies where you join in and pre-match lobbies or post-match, super toxic, right?
Yeah.
And it's so easy to just snap. Now I'm going to talk to you guys, drivers, Christian drivers that swear to everybody that crosses in front of you, that brakes in front of you, that drives horribly. You're also not supposed to do that, man. Don't. Yeah, is that you, Adrian? Are you one of
Me?
them?
No, not at
Never,
all.
ever.
I never drive through downtown Dallas and swear at other people.
So this is a really broad argument. By the way, read if you guys want to learn more about judging and what all that means. Romans chapter 2, the first few verses, super powerful. We're not gonna do that. It's just this is a broad gamers edition and what we can apply to our lives as Christian gamers and be better as Christian gamers. So one thing that to me, and I don't know you boys, God might be telling you something else, and if you do, please tell me. But to me, it's very simple. Don't utilize this platform, the games, to judge other people. Number one, because you'll be judged, which he will. Number two, because I, as a Christian, based on the last commandment that he gave, is supposed to go out and spread his gospel to them. So shame on me. Do you guys see it any different? Is there any other thoughts to this, guys, or quite simple like that?
I mean, the only thought that I had is that it's one of those things that God gave us with the intent of good, right? Because if you think about it, right, the good that comes from gaming is the community, right? Bringing people together, playing a game that they love. And you can talk about it. Like we got streamers, people. There's leaders in this community. They're especially the only one, right? Where young minds are being molded. They can follow these people that they look up to. So and it's something that almost seems achievable in the sense like being a professional streamer gamer, right? It seems a little bit more attainable than playing in the NFL or the NBA or the NHL, where it's a lot, it's more selective, I guess, or whatever. But basically, like, and I don't want to ramble. Basically, like, it was meant to be something good, and it's in our human nature that there are certain things that taint it, right? With the swearing, with some of the being putting down of others, where something as a simple friendly competition turns into almost verbal violence, and for me, it's one of those things that you just have to remind our viewers and ourselves that like this was meant to be a good thing and is inherently a good thing, just like money, just like cars, whatever have you. Like all things are good and meant to glorify God, and it's only in our sinfulness as humans that we really kind of take it and flip the coin over, and we see kind of the ugliness
Perverted.
of it. Yeah.
Very, very well said, Agent. I appreciate that, man. Way to add the different view to it, because that's absolutely right. Okay, boys. So let's move on to our last verse. Do we still have time, dude? Perfect. Oh my goodness, I thought we were gonna like spill over. Luke Skywalker, chapter 2.
Oh, where's my lightsaber?
Verse 52. This might hurt a little bit, but we shall see.
Man, it all hurts. This has been super incriminating for me.
Same. Hence why I want to bring it up.
Yeah.
I was like, God is giving me a good little spang with this stuff.
52.
Mm-hmm.
And Jesus increased in wisdom and in stature and in favor with God and men.
So,
or mankind.
I almost don't want to talk about this, to be honest. If we were going to be very real, very Pauline like, we should understand that stuff that doesn't give us wisdom in Christ will not make us more mature in fellowship of Christ. And so I think this is a very anti-gaming, anti-sports, anti-like hobbies verse, right? If understood that way. I personally believe few things. One, Jesus set us an example of what the real deal is, right? What is it like to be perfect in earth, right? Because he was as a man walking with us in earth, right? Second, I believe that through his example, we should learn and strive to be him, obviously. And so, having said that, the only difference is we're not God, we're sinners first. Well, in my case, I'm saved first now, but sinner beforehand, which is what Paul will say all the time, right? He'll say, literally, I am the first, he says. I stole the name, the only one from him. He'll go, I'm the sinner, the only one, the first and the only one. And this is Paul, mind you. But in reality, man, we should strive in our daily walk, even in things like this, right? Maturing in him and growing in him. I'll tell you one thing, man. Unless we're like focused completely as we game and like sharing his gospel or talking, having like constructive conversations and meaningful conversations along the spirit, along the word, we ain't doing that while gaming. We're not doing this. I'm not gonna call it that it's wrong. I will call ourselves immature. Right, because that's the word that he's using here. We're not maturing in his wisdom while we're doing that. Again, I don't think it's a sin. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's a choice, right? It's a choice that we're choosing to do. And in reality, he's giving us creation. He's giving all this to also enjoy this. So I don't see anything wrong with it. But it does smack me in the face from time to time when I read this verse and I go, and I ask myself, how much did I pursue his wisdom today? How long did I spend growing in him to be more mature in the favor of God and Jesus Christ, right? And I find myself more often than not answering things like, man, not really, not today. I didn't. I play tennis and I game instead. Or, work was so long, right?
Mhm.
That has zero time to do this. And I think that's where it really hits me. So I use it for gaming because it's my personal number one hobby, right? And I don't think I game a bazillion. I game, almost every night or every other night, 2-3 hours. But that's a lot, man. If I do that in his word, believe me, I'll be much more mature and my wisdom level will be much higher. I know that. So that's where it hits me. How about you boys? How you guys feel about this? John, so you're thinking a lot. Hand on the face. What is God telling you through this verse?
Adding processing power every time I touch my facial hair.
Very good. CPUs, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of CPU power, facial CPU power.
Yeah, baby.
We'll do, man.
We have like a maximum CPU usage right here.
I got the i7 right here.
How am I gonna fix
Mine is like an i3, man. Still working on it.
We're gonna have to sister these beams. So this has always been something I've kind of wondered about, right? So like if I'm not constantly doing something for Christ, then am I doing something wrong, right?
Mhm.
And I mean, it's hard because there's situations where Jesus is not constantly in ministry, but he is, right? So because you can do ministry in anything, So, for example, Christ goes to that party where he changed water into wine,
Yep.
right?
The wedding,
Um,
right?
right, exactly. So he's doing that's an extracurricular activity, right?
Yeah.
Like going to a party and spending time with people is an extracurricular activity. And earlier, Adrian was kind of talking about how gaming is geared towards the community, right, and the social aspect of it, right? Um, and I think if we are using video games to run away from things, right, like I do often, or we're using video games just to play video games, right? And the objective isn't to build relationships, or if like a second ago, right, more incriminating stuff, right? If you're blasting someone for like just running down mid lane, right, instead
Mhm.
of joining the team for
Mm.
Baron, right?
Mm.
Am I building a relationship that I will eventually
Mm.
be able to share the gospel with, or am I burning a bridge before the bridge is even built, you know?
Mm.
Um, and so I don't know. It's an interesting thing to think about. It makes me sad in my heart because I know that I've wasted a lot of time with video games, right? Like I love video games, bro. I love them. In fact, that's probably a problem too, right? Loving video games more than I love Christ is a very real possibility in my life,
Oof.
you know,
Yeah.
because it elicits more of an emotional response than Christ does, you know.
I mean,
Um,
would you say that you wasted time, or was that time spent
I've
resting and
I've
just
you have to think about it this way, right? So I've had many conversations with people about Christ over video games. I was just talking with a guy the other day that was agnostic, and we were comparing our beliefs, right? And it was awesome. I loved it. It was a very good experience. But then there's other times where I'm flavor blasting someone for, again, not grouping for Baron, or not split laning when they should have been, or whatever, or not picking someone up when they should have been picked up, or not pushing with us when we should have pushed, or pushing too quickly. um,
shots fired?
You should read
uh,
Luke 7:1, sir, about judging, sir. Thank you very much.
So I don't know. I feel like if my heart and my objective isn't right, then it's inherently going to be bad, right? Like I can relax while still not burn every bridge that I come across, and building relationships so I can share the gospel of Christ, or even playing with someone that's bronze, even though I don't want to.
Yep. Good point. Good point. Adrian, did God told you anything through this verse specifically, or no? Or in the
Uh,
whole thing, I guess, now that this is the last verse, as the whole thing that we read today, because it was quite a bit, kind of all over the place.
I mean, it kind of just along the lines of what I was saying. Like, it's just, it's just a gentle reminder for me to focus on what's real. And as far as like this particular verse, you for those of you who are first time viewers, whatever, I'm typically the context guy. And I'm surprised that I wasn't called upon to put this verse into context. So this was actually when Jesus was still a little boy and he was lost in the temple, and his parents couldn't find him until they finally did. And he kind of looked at, Mama Mary and, Papa Joseph, and was like, why were you frantic? Why were you, looking for me? Didn't you know that I was going to be here? And, for me, yeah, this verse just kind of goes to show, kind of like what we were all saying, that it's a constant pursuit of wisdom and growth every single day. And kind of like what John was saying, like I feel like there are some parts of my day where like I'm growing as a person, as a business professional, whatever. But I feel like a big chunk of my day, I'm just kind of like standing still and just like using video games as an excuse to to decompress. And it's not like I said, it's not a bad thing. Video games are not inherently bad. Like it is a time for me to unwind and de-stress. But can I say that I'm growing from playing video games right now? The answer is no. So does that mean I could be doing something else? I don't think so. I mean, like I said, I don't think what I'm doing, playing video games for a couple hours a day, is necessarily bad. So if that's what you use to escape from the world, to decompress, then I think that's a godly thing. Rest. We did a series on the worker series, and we did a whole episode about finding
Mm-hmm.
rest. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe our God is up there, playing video games with us as well when we're resting, in heaven on a couch with a PlayStation,
5.
5,000, something like that,
Oh,
whatever,
ooh.
you know, whatever version of PlayStation is,
777,000.
or something like that, PlayStation 777, right?
There
Because
you
that's a
go.
holy
There you go.
number,
That's it.
something
Yes,
like that.
sir.
Boom, boom.
Yeah. So
Listen, man. Oh, sorry. I didn't know.
no,
I thought you were
no.
done.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Listen, man. The way that I see it is very simple. Gaming has brought us together to do this.
Mm.
That can't be wrong. That just cannot be. I don't see how that is wrong. I actually believe that gaming has brought this space and do this, and it's a huge blessing to me. I don't know if it's to you, I don't know if it's to you guys, my friends, or whoever watches, whatever. To me, it's a huge blessing that God has utilized gaming for Bible Talk Wednesdays, and that to me is sick. So I will never give that up. And I love for a fact that I get to do this publicly and not be ashamed of who I am. So it's cool.
Mhm.
Like on the Discords that we're friends for, like for instance, I'm in a really good Discord that I really like of really close friends. A lot of them, or I would say probably all of them except John, are not Christians. But
Little
it's so
Fluffy.
cool. But it's yeah, that's right, Fluffy is. Shout out to you, Fluffy. But it's pretty cool that number one, like for instance, little things, right? I think they're amazing to see in this space. One, if I'm in a Discord with them, we're gaming, they're not swear. They swear, right? Get some Canadians in there and stuff. And shout out to you, Canadians. You guys are amazing people. But they swear a lot, and I don't swear. I don't like swearing. I think it's not necessary. And I think it goes against the word of God. It's like using malice words, and they don't while I'm there. They changed my name to They're the only one cross to make sure that people know I'm Christian, that I like and I make sure that everybody knows, and I try to spread his love. And so I think there's ways where we can do this and it can be very helpful and it can impact other people. And it's pretty amazing to see it with my friends that are not Christian, that respect and are willing to sacrifice part of who they are to be better, and that makes them feel better. That's just me. Guyver, we're finishing up, and look at you, man. You're throwing up. Let's go, man. Let's go, Guyver. What you got? Why would God need imperfect parents to care for him? Why would he return to them? Oh, Adrian, take it away. Oh, dude, I so want to answer this, but go for it, dude. Go for it.
Oh no, if you really want to.
No. Shoot,
go for
man.
it,
You
leader.
were quiet today. It's your
Mhm.
roll call, baby.
Okay,
Holla.
so here's the thing, right? So God came into this earth in order for us to relate to him. Like he this all-powerful being that is outside of space and time, before the beginning and the end, all these things, right? Decided to dawn on this vulnerable, gross thing called skin and flesh and bones and muscles, just so that way we can find a similarity to relate to us, and essentially bring all of us into his eternal heavenly kingdom. Because I think prior to that, it was almost impossible for us, as the world was kind of modernizing, and I say modernizing like 2,000 years ago, right? People, yeah, I feel like God's children were really starting to misunderstand his message and what he was trying to do, his overall mission, to bring us into his kingdom. And so he put on this cloak of flesh and disgustingness in order for us to relate to him. And so why would he need imperfect parents? So first of all, there's no other perfect person out there except for Jesus, right? So of God. So it had to come from that. And I mean, I can go on this whole spiel about like his lineage to King David, back in the Old Testament, and all these things about how he fulfilled the prophecies, blah 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 blah. But to really answer why would he return to his imperfect parents is to set an example of our duties as children, both to our parents here on earth, but to our Father that is God, right? Because he said in that verse, like, didn't you know that I would be in my Father's temple, right? So he has kind of like two dads, essentially. He has his earthly father, Joseph, right, who was, raised him as a father to a child, but then he also has his ultimate father that we all share in God. And I think in that situation, all those verses, those last 3 verses of Luke, kind of tie it all together of like our responsibilities as children of God, both to our parents here on earth and to our big God, our big Father up in heaven. So hopefully that answers your question.
Boom. Guyver, you're awesome today, man. We hope to see you every Wednesday. Hopefully you're there. And please join the Discord, man. Like come on over. We're about to actually, John is very fervently typing in chat to make sure that we're getting ready to join the voice group over there so we can talk and do the thing. Look at him fervently getting so ready. It's good. Boom, boom, boom.
Fervent is a good word.
It's a good word. So get over there, man. Join the Discord and join us. We're literally gonna go there in 45 seconds. We're not gonna do last thoughts, you guys. We're running a little bit late, but we absolutely love you guys. We can't wait to see you guys next week. God permitting, we might extend this. I don't know how you feel about this, boys. This is a really good Gamers Edition. I think there's space to do 3 to 4 more, and I'll be very excited to continue if you guys are down for this. So we'll pray about it. We'll go from there, but we can't wait to see you, God permitting, next week, Wednesday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, coming soon later to Spotify and iTunes in the future, probably for season 3. We're really excited to have you guys, and we'll see you guys later.
Where is Guyver from?
Guyver, where are you from, dude? Before you leave,
what's your first language, if you don't mind my asking?
Do you don't think it's English?
I don't know. It might be. That's why I'm asking.
Oh, okay. Guyver, you're still there. I don't know. Hopefully you didn't dip, but let us know if or answer in the Discord so I can put the outro. But come on over and let us know. Join us, man. Let's get chatting. And we love you guys. We'll see you guys next time. See ya. The Bible Talk Wednesday.
This is Bible Talk. With your host, Leader, the only one.
Your first loser.
I am closer to be better, to be the best, okay? So cut me some slack.
John's fumbling.
Boba Fett. Attack mode?
Yep, I see that.
Attack mode?
Yep.
Attack mode?
Yep.
I'm in attack mode right now.
Adrian A.I. Indelos.
I'm a man. I fix things. Cook barbecue and fix things.
This is Bible Talk.